Hello, and welcome to another edition of What's Up, Missoula, where we interview members of nonprofit organizations who'd like to highlight their programs. And today we have with us Barbara Kustra, and she is from the University of Montana's Montana Museum of Art and Culture at the University of Montana. And Barbara's going to take us through, show us all about the museum over there and make us all want to go over and take a look. Thank you for coming today, Barbara.
It's great to be here. Thank you, Rikki.
Okay, so what do you have to show us today?
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about the museum, and then we're going to go on a journey of treasures, hidden treasures at this point, and I'll explain that in a bit. But we have at the University of Montana and at the Montana Museum of Art and Culture a collection of over 10,000 artworks and artifacts. And these have been collecting since 1894, which is the year beyond when the university was formed and started. Wow. And so they've been collecting for some time through a variety of donors, many of them alumni of the University of Montana, some of them world travelers, and other folks that have realized that this public collection is very important to the state of Montana and to the people of the state of Montana. So it belongs to all of us. Which makes it a pretty magnificent resource, not only for University of Montana students, which of course is very important to us, and the professors and professionals and academics that teach us so very much at the university, but also for the general public, and again, for all citizens of the state. So we're very excited to be the stewards of this collection, and I'm going to share some images about it in a moment. Okay. Our galleries at present are in the university's PAR TV building, we affectionately call it, and of course that's the acronym for Performing Arts Radio Television Building, or Center, excuse me. So PAR TV is our short version of how we describe the building. Now it's at East 6th Street at Van Buren, right across from the Adams Center. So if you go to sporting events over there, we're right across the street. And we've got two galleries, the Malloy Gallery and the Paxson, both named for wonderful Montana artists. So we're open different hours depending on the season, and I'll talk about that in a moment too. Admission is free. So we invite everyone to come and share our variety of exhibits throughout the year, and I'll talk about specifics there too. So why don't we first today go to the permanent collection and talk a little bit about our highlights. This is certainly only a small fraction of what we have is our collection, but this will give an idea of some of the wonderful, wonderful highlights and what people can see as time goes on and we put our exhibits together. But I would also mention not every exhibit consists of these treasures, but we also have traveling and visiting exhibits to share as well. And many of them are on an international or national or regional scale. And so we bring in artists that we may not normally get a chance to see in this part of the woods. So we're proud of the educational mission behind us to offer diverse exhibits to our diverse audience with the university community in mind, but certainly the wider regional audience always in mind too. So let's go to a PowerPoint show and look, you know, images can speak a lot better than I and 1,000 words, as they say. So let's go to first the PAR TV building. There we are. And this again houses the Malloy and the Paxson galleries, which is sort of headquarters for our exhibits right now. But I would also say here that we have art across campus. All the public artworks that you see if you walk across campus, whether it's Grizz over on the Oval, the TP burner near the University Center, all those pieces are part of the permanent collection of the museum.
All right. So is this where you'd walk in to go to, it's like this, what entrance is that? What street is that?
That was the southeast entrance to the PAR TV building.
Okay.
And so that's one of 3 entrances you can take. And there is signage up there in white, as you can see on the right.
So sort of down from the law school.
Down from the law school
okay.
and across from the Adams Center.
All right.
Next slide, please. Here is our Malloy Gallery, where again we have a host of exhibits each year Malloy Gallery, named for Henry Malloy, a wonderful Montana artist who was born in Townsend. Next slide, please. We'll see next our Paxson Gallery, which is right across the hallway from the Malloy. It's a long, wonderful space for lots of different exhibits that we host there. Next, please. This is an example of art we have across our campus that's not necessarily in the gallery spaces. Here's an example from the Continuing Education Building, which is also known as the James Todd Building, across from the library, from the Mansfield Library. You can see a case here which houses more examples, this time of ceramics from our permanent collection.
Oh.
It's a wonderful way we can share this collection that right now has very limited ability to be seen by, again, showcasing it in various locations across campus.
All right. So next slide.
Here's another example of art around campus. This is the Mansfield Library, and you see a Stephanie Frosted horse to the left.
Beautiful.
And a wonderful painting to the right there as well, with a view of the valley, actually.
What is that made of, that horse?
That horse is made out of ceramic materials,
Really?
and it was done at an auction we held a few years back.
Beautiful. It looks like a real horse standing there.
Yes.
Is it life-size?
It's pretty darn close.
Oh my goodness.
Next, please. This is a wonderful representation of a piece from our Rudy Audio ceramic collection, which is one wing of the permanent collection. And guess what? There's Rudy Audio himself, a true icon of Montana and of the region and of the nation in terms of ceramic talent and ability. And next to him is a work by James Leedy, which is an actual portrait of Rudy. So it's kind of a neat connection there.
That's nice. Okay, next one.
This is an example of one of the programs we have throughout the year where we invite guest speakers in to complement a given exhibit and to give some of the educational backdrop to what a given show can offer folks. We try always to give lots of information so that it's a meaningful experience and there's lots of learning to be had. Next, please. Another example, children's workshop to the right and viewing by family of a recent Native American show we hosted on the left. Next, please.
How often do you change your shows?
You know, roughly every 8 weeks, we do between 8 and 9 shows each year.
Okay.
And we also have traveling shows. This is another thing where one of the shows we recently hosted across the nation, Charles Fritz's view as if he were the painter along with the Lewis and Clark expedition, had
Wow.
over 100,000 viewers nationwide
Oh my
over the last
goodness.
few years during the Lewis and Clark bicentennial. We're very proud of that. And we have 2 other touring exhibitions in place right now.
All right. Okay, what's up next?
Now we begin kind of some individual artworks from our permanent collection just to give folks a feel for the variety of objects that we show and will be showing into the next few years. This is an example of one of our oldest works, and it is the Spanish altar panel by the Master of St. Gregory, dated sometime 1465 to 1541.
It's a panel as in wood or?
Yes.
I see.
Next, please. Russian icon from the 15th century, and this is of Mary. It's made with a silver cover, wood support. This is another one of our wonderful treasures. Next, please. I have lots of images to share today, and I want to be sure folks see them all. This is an example of our Asian collection, from our Asian collection. Toyokuni is the artist, and this was made around the turn into the 1800s. We're not exactly sure of the date, but it's a Japanese print, donated by Frey Dana. Now, Frey Dana was one of Montana's most wonderful artists, and we have paintings by her and paintings donated by her as part of our collection. Next, please. Here is a Russian Easter egg that is paper mache and undated. We're not sure exactly of the date, but again, donated to us by one of our wonderful benefactors. We don't have that donor name on this at the moment. We're looking for that donor's name, but this is an example of the kind of variety we hold. Next.
How big is that egg?
You know, it's not really large, about 4 inches high by maybe
Okay.
3
All right.
inches. This is an example of a Rembrandt piece that we have. We're very proud of
Wow.
this. We're very proud to tell folks that we will have an entire Rembrandt show visiting campus in 2008.
My
This will be a
goodness.
very special moment. We had some wonderful donors come forward to support that. Next, please.
Is that pen and ink?
Yes.
All right. And
Okay, we're covering up our artist on that one right now, but Hughes Jones is the artist and famous American landscape artist of the 19th century.
all right. So, yeah, now when you have these exhibited, how many things can you exhibit at once in the galleries?
We have about 1,700 square feet right now, and so at any one time we can show 1/10 of 1% of our permanent holdings, our
Wow.
permanent collection. So it's really not enough. It's
No.
not very many. We're
Yeah.
kind of limited in that regard.
Yeah.
So, but we do our best to put together thematically wonderful shows so that they are a wonderful opportunity. I wonder, Craig, if we could lose the mention of the museum for just a second. There, thank you so much. And then we can show a little more information to the viewers about these paintings. Thomas Couture, Ducks and Chickens, is a wonderful oil painting donated by Mrs. Spotswood many years ago.
Is that a big one?
This one's 9 by 12 inches, so medium.
Oh, okay.
Next, please. Virgilio Narciso Diaz de la Peña, a landscape with figure. This is dated, well, it's mid-1800s. We don't have an exact date. Another wonderful donation by Josephine Bay. Next. This is a Russian painting by Kamenev, and it's 32 by 40 inches, dated 1864.
Wow.
Next, please. Jean-Leon Jerome, The King of the Beasts is the name of this one. It's a kind of a beauty. It's also an oil painting on canvas, and about 20 inches by 27.
And when was that painted?
This was painted, we don't have an exact date, but this French painter lived between 1824 and 1904. His best known works are Oriental Scenes. He was an academic painter and a sculptor, both.
So are these mostly donated or?
Yes, mostly
Okay.
donated works of art.
Right.
This is a John Brown portrait of a boy with snowball, and this we showed recently in our Children of the Permanent Collection show, which happened just around Christmas time. It was a really huge success. We were very pleased about it. Next, please. William Merritt Chase painted this portrait of Fray Dana. This is one of our true treasures, and this is dated 1897. Another one of our absolute favorites is Gabrielle is the name, oil on canvas by Alfred Maurer, very famous American painter, born in New York City. He was the son of Currier and Ives lithographer Louise Maurer. So,
Wow.
Eugene Baudin, another artist with our collection, Cows by the River. And this is Douglas John Kona, Girl with Hollyhocks. This was from 1889. Here's a Turner painting, Seen on Staten Island.
Really?
And this is another
From
oil.
a long time ago.
Yeah, 1904 to be exact.
Wow.
Here's a different kind of art. We do have a Native American art collection that we're growing right now, and that is a Philip John hunting party pencil drawing, dated circa 1892. Frederick Remington, we all know that name in
Oh,
the
yeah.
West, and this is a wash on paper, not dated, but a very exciting part of our Western collection. Another very famous part of our collection is our collection of Edgar Paxson's. And of course, he was part of Missoula's history. This is Sacagawea, which we had on view last summer during the Lewis and Clark festivities, dated 1904 is when he painted this work. William Standing is our next artist. oil on board, 18 by 12 inches, untitled. Sometimes artists choose not to title them. He was born in 1904 and lived until 1951. Here is César Partin, French painter. It's called Doing the Wash.
Beautiful.
And isn't that a wonderful feeling of these young women doing the wash, having some fun doing it? He was a French genre painter. Next, please. Joseph Henry Sharp is one of our really beloved artists among our collected works, and this is the Taos Garden. It is another one that was donated by Frey Dana, and we'll get to some of her works in a moment.
Okay.
Speaking of Frey Dana, here is one of her, and this is basically a self-portrait. It's
Really?
called On the Window Seat.
I love it.
She donated it to our collection back in the 1940s and had a fascinating story. She was an artist who married a rancher in Montana, and part of their premarital agreement was that she get time and get the opportunity to continue her artistry. So she would travel to Chicago, New York, Paris, and meet with other artists and study art. And that was not so very much done at the turn into the 20th century. So she had a rather unique way of life. Some folks around their ranch didn't really take to this lifestyle that she chose, but she knew she needed to pursue her artistry, and so we have some wonderful treasures because of it.
Beautiful painting.
John Ferry, Gunsight Pass is the title here, done in 1913. Here's a Ralph DeCamp, another one of our favorites in terms of Western pieces in our collection, Gates of the Mountains,
Wonderful.
1926. Another image from our West here, Edward Berine, and this is called Cowboy Roping Steer. He was born in California, Berine was, moved to Montana to become a working cowboy.
Okay. That one's very alive.
On a more contemporary side of things, Freeman Butts, this is called Dry Creek. This was donated by a wonderful Montana supporter of arts and artists, Miriam Sample. We have several works from her, and we're delighted that she's so generous to numerous museums around Montana. Here's a Henry Malloy. I spoke of him earlier. We have our gallery named for Mr. Malloy. This is a watercolor and ink on paper. He made this in the late 1940s. And this is on permanent loan to us from the Henry Malloy Educational Trust.
Is that a watercolor or?
It sure is. Watercolor and ink on paper. Andy Warhol, that's a pretty familiar American artist name. This is called Cow Wallpaper. And it's dated from 1971, and this was actually donated by UN President George Dennison and his wife Jane for our collection. So we're grateful for his gift to the collection. We're grateful to all our donors in that regard. It helps us create this wonderful storehouse of resource. Here's a Kevin Red Star that's part of our collection. He calls this Elk Medicine Helpers Lodge. And of course, he's famous from eastern Montana, doing a wonderful series of works as we speak. This is an oil on linen as far as the media involved. This is a Ted Waddell, who Ted was born in 1941, spent much time in Montana, once resided in Tudot, and now he lives in Manhattan, Montana, and also Haley, Idaho. And this is a beauty that's actually available for seeing in the continuing ed building. This is a...
The horses almost look like bears in that one. That was interesting.
Interesting. This piece is a Rudy Audio. We're very proud as part of our permanent collection. It's on view actually in the Gallagher Business Building on campus.
Oh,
We do have works in various buildings, and the ceramic mural that you see behind the sculpture there is a mosaic also created by Rudy Audio. So,
wonderful.
Here's a ceramic vase created by Peter Volkas. It's called Covered Jar and made in around 1954. Peter Volkus, another huge, nationally renowned name in the ceramic world, and one of the gentlemen, along with Rudy Audio, who began the wonderful Center for Ceramics in Helena. So we're very grateful for this. Here we have another example of our public art. Jay Labor is the artist, and it's called Charging Forward, and if you go to any of the events at the stadium, you've seen it as you roll along Campus Drive.
Okay, well, we've got about 5 minutes left.
Okay.
So.
Well, I certainly
Quick
want
look.
to mention that, oh, excuse me, we have a couple more images.
Yeah.
This is the TP burner. Before we fixed it up and repaired it, and if we do the next slide, you can see the after shot.
Oh, yeah.
So we're all about restoring art too when funds are available. Next, please. Another artwork. This time, this is on display in the Federal Reserve Bank in Helena, where we have one of our permanent collection items as well. This is an example of our email newsletter, which is available to anyone free. If we have your email address, we will send it to you. And just another little brochure item I want to share. We're happy to send you one of these if you give us a call at 243-2019 or reach us on our website, which I believe Craig's going to list again here in just a moment.
Good.
So
That was fun.
I hope it was fun.
It was great.
It sure is fun to work with these beautiful masterpieces and works of art that really tell the story of Montana in many ways, but tell the story of other parts of the world too. That's the exciting thing. It's quite an international series of things.
So if people have some artworks that they feel they want to share, they can donate them.
They can. We do have a permanent collection committee that decides whether what we call accession works into the collection. And so we're delighted if there's an artwork out there that's appropriate, that matches some of our other theme areas, like ceramic, then we're delighted by gifts such as those. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Barb, for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, and I'll be over there to take a look at all this.
Come visit.
Okay.